So this week on Carleton at 60, we recorded two videos with Rick Morgan, one on Bob Huband and one on Bob Wake. Rick is a historian, Rick Morgan is, and he's been here a long time, and he knows how to put the information together for us. And every time I ask, who can tell me something about Bob Wake or Bob Huband, it always comes back to Rick. And so you'll be seeing Rick a lot, I guess, when we're talking about the history of the club. He has a very good handle on that. And certainly I appreciate all the time he gives me to come out early and do some of these videos. So without further ado, we're going to run the videos back to back, one on the Bob Huband tree on number 12 and one on the Bob Wake bench on number 7, which is under a crabapple tree, and you'll find out why. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much. Good morning. You're here on the 12th hole. You might have seen this tree dedicated to Bob Huband. Bob was a special individual, and I'm here with Rick Morgan today. Rick was Bob's friend, and Rick, welcome back.
Thank you.
Can you tell us about Bob?
Sure. I got probably lots of stories about Bob, but he was a very, very good athlete. He was a lifelong Bell Canada employee and got bounced around a few times from city to city, and ended up here for obviously his last 30 years of playing golf at least. He was a basketball star, tennis, football, and certainly in high school he went to Glebe and then went to university down in Queens and Michigan State. I'll tell you a little story about his daughter and basketball, but let me just finish off this. He belonged to this golf club for 30 years. He belonged to a tennis club, a curling club. He was a consummate athlete and always busy and always active. So the key basketball story is one of his kids. He had 3 kids. One of his kids was Deb Huband, and she was playing basketball for Bishop's University. And at the time, I was coaching the women's basketball team at McGill University, so I knew Deb Huband very well. Knew her long before I knew him. She became a star down there. Ended up coaching. Went out to Vancouver. Has won many university basketball titles on behalf of University of British Columbia as well as Bishop's. She was actually named one of the top 100 female athletes in college history in Canada. Wow. She won Coach of the Year. She was a very, very good player, and as you know, I did executive search and did a lot of work for Carleton University. I got the president in there originally. Anyway, she called me one day and said, I need a new athletic director. And so I thought of Deb Huband. I called Bob and I said, Bob, I'm going to call your daughter in Vancouver and see if she wants to be the athletic director at McGill, or excuse me, at Carleton. And he said, what? Great, I've been trying to get her to move back here. And he says, don't do anything yet. He says, let me call her first and let me kind of set it up, and that we miss her so much and we want her back, and her brother and sister were still here or whatever. And so he called me one night and he says, okay, I think I got her convinced. So I didn't tell her anything about Carleton. So I called her and she was surprised, and she said, well, let me think about it for a few days, and Bob must have called me twice a day for about a week and said, so, and because he really wanted her back here. And she said, no, I've decided I love it here too much, and I'm not going to go. I thought he was going to cry. So that was his good basketball story, but a very engaging guy, a very, very athletic, good man.
Yeah, he was a good man. I didn't have a lot of interaction with Bob, but the few I did were very positive. So, well, I know he loved trees. I think the appropriateness of dedicating a tree to him is very, very well done, because apparently he didn't want to get rid of too many trees on the course. He's a tree guy. I think he was on the plane committee, and he was very adamant he weren't cutting down any trees on Carleton.
You just reminded me of something else. He was when you said tree, he was a strong genealogist. He was really interested in the family and everything, so family trees, and all of
Okay,
that kind of stuff.
right.
And he was doing this before, certainly before. I'm a genealogist too. I've got something like 48,000 people in my family tree
Oh my
right
goodness.
now.
Oh my
You know.
goodness.
Anyway, 12 cousins, fifth removed, twice replaced, or whatever. And we talked about that too. He was an avid genealogist before they had Ancestry.ca
Yeah.
and before everything was online. And he'd go to graveyards and he'd take pictures and very
It's a
interested in it.
Fascinating area, because I did our own family, but I had more tools to work with than you did.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
It is fascinating. And
Yeah.
to see the documents you can pull up.
Oh
and that
yeah,
stuff,
oh yeah.
Anyway, well, thank
Well,
you.
into that.
Thank you very much.
On the 7th hole, at the Bob Wake Memorial Bench. And Bob was a member here at Carleton a long time, and Rick has some information about Bob. Can you tell us about Bob Wake and why his bench is here?
Sure. But when I first joined here in 1980, and was given a locker, and it was right beside Bob Wake, so I got to know him very well, and it was in the area of the men's locker room upstairs there, where all the pictures and there used to be a card playing in that corner. That used to be all lockers.
Okay.
Right along that wall, and there was a direct door out to the swimming pool. It used to be in the backyard. Bob was one of the very early professors. I believe there were only 3 people in the psychology department when he joined Carleton back in, well, obviously quite a long time ago. Was well liked by his students. Very talkative. He did a lot of work for the RCMP on special projects, some of which are confidential and not to be told, etc. But they actually paid for him to go down to the U.S. for a full year to do some research and study and come back on a significant project that he had. That's not the reason the bench is here, though. The bench is here because of that crabapple tree right behind us.
Yeah.
Right behind us. He was well known for those picking up the crab apples and bringing them home, and his wife would make jelly, and he'd every year come around with half a dozen or more and just hand them out to a few people. And because my locker was right beside, I benefited from that a great deal. So this bench has been here since 1997. I can remember a couple of us getting a little perturbed because there's another bench over behind the tee, as you well know.
Yeah.
And this used to be over there,
Yeah.
and not at the crabapple tree, even though the crabapple message is on this sign. But another solid member was here for a long time, and a great educator. His wife was a teacher too, and very strong member and supporter of the club.
Well, there's 2 things about this bench too. First of all, it was the first memorial bench. But I understand that crabapple jelly, he'd raised money too for the junior program here, and that was another benefit of doing that. So,
Yeah, no, absolutely. As I said, I never remember him asking for money from me. As I said, we were side by side. But I'm sure I must have.
Yeah. I think he asked for donations and stuff for that.
Yeah.
So people did. Anyway, that's the story of Bob Wake. That's why his bench is here, and it will stay under this crabapple tree. Thank you very much.